if you're lost in whatever was just happening, welcome. You're in the right place, by the way. We are discussing matters lost in the state of mind, the whole mind in motion. But how are you doing this morning, by the way? Are you okay? We normally have these particular questions for you when you wake up in the morning and someone asks you, how are you doing? And you'd probably just say, I'm in Kofiti. But how are you really doing this morning? And tomorrow is the World Mental Health Day, and just having this particular conversation as a curtain raiser for it. And I just have the right minds for this conversation. First off, counseling psychologist Elizabeth Kavulani. Yes. How are you doing this morning?
Fine, thank you.
Looking all African and everything with the whole earrings.
Thank you.
And Vincent Owoko.
Yes.
AKA Vic.
Yes.
Choreographer, teacher. Anything else I'm forgetting?
Yeah, co-founder Lost State of Mind. Yes.
Do you always add Rastafarian in your, Rastaman in your, introduce?
Not really. Yeah.
I feel like the dreads have a whole story behind it.
Yes.
All right, we'll get to that. And Catherine Karime.
Yes.
The whole strategy. When do you sasa wakuplan vitu? Kama vitu haziende vizuri, they come to you.
Yes.
Kama hujakula nyama choma in a whole month,
wanakuja kwangu.
Karimi nyama choma iko. Karibuni sana by the way.
Thank you very much.
47.
Thank you.
First off, I'll start with the choreographer. For the past like a minute or so, we are taking a look at that whole contemporary dancing. And even the view is like, what is happening here? You know, we are used to the whole Kamani dance, a whole different kind of dance. But this, it had its own theme, you know. I was trying to deduce what is happening there. The whole wakifanya the kichwa nini, speaking largely on mental health. Niko on the right track?
Yeah, sure.
Abu Tuambi, what is happening there?
Okay. So as a choreographer, I decided we are two choreographers who choreographed the show. That is me, and then there is Suleiman Maningi, who is also the co-founder of Lost State of Mind. So, you know, during those hard times of COVID, and also before COVID, this has always been there for a very long time. Mental health has always been there, and people have been struggling a lot. So we thought of what's the best way to bring out and advocate for the issues people are going through. So since we are contemporary dancers, we decided like, why don't we bring up a production that will depict and will bring out that struggle that people go through. Yeah, so we decided to put it in terms of movement, and that is where you see like when they're hitting the head, because most of the time for you like to get like mentally ill and stuff, everything starts in the mind. Yes.
When was Lost State of Mind founded?
It was founded last year.
Last year?
Yes, it
Around
was founded last year around February. Though the idea started way back, but we placed everything into actualization in last year, and then we did our premiere in May. Yes, May last year. Yes.
There's a time I saw you in Netherlands. Nilikuwa natembea streets za Netherlands. Nikakuona we'll get to that. I'm joking. I was not in Netherlands. But then, Elizabeth, tomorrow is World Mental Health Day. First of all, as a counseling psychologist, how big of a deal is this for you? How big of a deal is tomorrow going to be for you?
Well. I think when it comes to mental health, we really like when we help people to be able to cope up with the stresses of life, because that is the main issue that we are dealing with right now. When there are stresses and one is not able to cope up with these particular stresses, that's when we find them maybe attempting suicide or being in a position where they're not able to move on with life. So tomorrow being a mental health day, me particularly and my team will be creating awareness through our online platforms, our WhatsApp status, and also our Instagram pages. That is what we'll particularly be doing. And also we have our practice on Monday and Tuesdays, Lost State of Mind. So during these sessions, we usually also have psychotherapy sessions. We have therapy sessions for our dancers, and we also have a few therapy sessions for those who train the dancers. So that is part of, despite the fact that it's not that big, but it's something that plays a very important role, because we reach out to a small number of people, but make sure that our services are quality.
Right.
Yeah.
And you guys have definitely had a number of events. Now I'm curious. For example, I attend one of your events. Take a look. There's one that was in Ukumbi Ndogo, I think last week.
Yeah.
Karim will be telling us about that. But then, so I come to this event. I have depression. And I know that you're a counseling psychologist.
Yeah.
So I probably meet you, we talk, nini. Do you follow up on me as Stanley?
Okay. So what we do, we usually have assessment tools. When we have events, we have particular assessment tools for different mental health conditions. So once you've done an assessment, during the first time you come in, we have a table where you get to have assessment and a session with the psychologist. And once we see that your case is very complex, then we take your contact and also refer you to a place where you can get therapy. So far from the events that we've had recently, we've had 2 clients whom we've referred for therapy, and they're doing quite well.
All right. And now, still on the whole events. Now, Karimi, because this really sits now on your docket, maneno strategy and everything. How does that happen? For example, for the 4th of October, Ukumbi Mdogo, the whole planning, because there seems to be like a number of events for this, a bit. There's workshops, correct me if I'm wrong, there's a whole, dance production and everything, and other bits that you can tell us about. So how do you plan for all this?
Yeah, first, in this area of strategy, we must recognize where we are and where we are going. And the going means reaching out. So we come down again and think, how are we going to reach mass? How are we going to reach to the many? How are we going to reach to, to many people at once? And hence now we sit down and think of a dance production where we have emotions expressed through dance, and we do the invites through the social platform, through friends, and through various ways that we can make sure that this has reached out to people. And we also make sure that as we plan this, we are not segregative. I would also like to say that our content, or rather what we have, is for any person above 15 years. So we make sure that we portion our content within that particular range of years. And we make sure that this has reached out to many people at once. And how did we, like, for example, the event that we had at Ukumbi Ndogo at the Kenya National Theatre, we knew that dance is a puller, is a puller of crowd.
Crowds,
yeah. We know when you call out people like, I'm so sure, like Stanley, like you love dancing. I'm not so sure, but maybe.
You should see the faces of behind the cameras right now. They're like, well, if he has 2 left feet, so just don't go there.
Okay, yes, but as it is, dance is a puller of crowd.
Yeah.
And we knew very well that if we put a concept of a dance production, we're going to have enough people. And for sure, he had enough people. So even as we sit down and strategize and we plan, we are looking for factors that can bring many people together.
Okay, fine. I will understand the objectives roughly, pulling crowds and raising mental health, the whole awareness of it. But at the end of the day, do you really reach the objective of at least ensuring that this number of people, they get to actually speak out at the end of the day?
Oh, yes, because as my colleague Elizabeth has said, we have got a structure of the way, a chain of events during that particular day. Like when people come, the first instant, of course, is to register yourself.
Yeah.
Maybe the next step is to pass through Elizabeth and very many other psychologists, maybe volunteered psychologists. They go through the assessment, they fill in the scorecard. Then from there, we enter the production room or the theater, depending. From there now, we do the expressive dance. Okay, they are oriented what's the event of the day. The production takes place, and at this particular point, you're talking about expressive dance, expressing different emotions. Maybe as the dancers are dancing, there's a place where there's an hype of a rhythm, maybe expressing like some turmoil or some distress. So as they do that, the audience is trying to relate with the expressive emotions. Now, once we are done, we give a room for Q&A. Yeah? So like last time we did this, the Kumbi Dogo, we realized that people had so many questions. I also looked through the audience. I could see people cry. When the dance was taking shape, I could see people cry. And my thought was maybe they are buying into the cry. They are buying into the emotions. And at the end of the day, we realized there's so much people are flowing out with, questions.
So they're really feeling what is really happening.
Yes.
Okay.
And you can actually tell maybe someone is seated on so much. And afterwards is when now, if one is willing to be that open, they come and we sought help through Elizabeth.
I must say this is definitely one unique bit. And actually, because I was watching a couple of the whole dances, and there's one that was standing out. I think you're probably doing it at KNT, I'm not sure, but it was really speaking largely on, I think probably relationships and maybe teenage pregnancies, two dancers there. And I'm curious, so with your co-founder and co-choreographer, so how do you choreograph this? Do you script them? How do you even script this kind of dances? Because does each have to have its own kind of theme?
Okay, so every performance, it always have a specific theme you're working on. Yeah, because the beauty of contemporary dance, it gives you that opportunity of tailor-making like each and every choreography to suit each and every theme. Yes. So when it comes to the choreography and the piece you are talking about, we made it based on the theme that we are bringing out. Yes. So you find that most of these movements, they come out depending on exactly what you want to bring out in terms of movement and in terms of expression. Yeah. If you want to bring out the aspect of togetherness, when it's, let me say, it's a duet, then it has to be a movement that brings the people together. And if it is, sometimes it might be, let me say, together in terms of let me say, contact improvisation or contact movement. And then sometimes it can be far away, but we are still connected. Yeah, far away and still connected, like now you're there, I'm here, but we are connected. We are still getting to have that connection with each other.
What informs this theme?
Sorry?
What informs the theme before you script the theme?
You're asking what informs the theme?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it always comes with the struggles and the issues that we have in the society. Yes. So if there is any need of addressing any issue in the society, then we come with a choreography based on that issue in the society. And that is what we also do as Lost State of Mind.
All right.
Yes.
Elizabeth, let's take a look at the numbers here.
Yep.
And well, they're always worrying. Like this is actually the pullout, the life and the health and science pullout on the Standard. So this is page 4 of the Standard today's paper. talking about the state of mental health, I'll just briefly, even for the viewer to take a look at the numbers here. So number one, 25% outpatients who suffer from mental health conditions, 40% the inpatients who suffer from mental health conditions, 70% caregivers of people with mental illness who grapple with their own mental health issues, and 1 out of 4 persons who seek healthcare in Kenya have a mental health condition. That's quite worrying. 1.9 million people with mental health conditions in Kenya. 1.9 million. And 500, these are the specialist mental health workers available to serve Kenya's population of over 50 million. And you lie on this 500. 100 psychiatrists available for a population of 45 million and 0.01% separate budget for mental health in Kenya. I've taken a look at these numbers, even for the viewer to understand, because numbers don't really lie, number one. What do these numbers tell you?
Well, I'd say especially when it comes to the psychiatrists, having 100 psychiatrists to attend to 1 million people, well, around 1 million, right?
Yeah, 1.9 billion.
Yes, 1.9 million, a population of people that has mental illness. That's a big problem for us as a country, which we need to address, because 100 is a few. And that's the number that's collected from statistics, but we don't know the people who've not reached out, or those populations out there that have not even tried to talk about mental health, or even don't understand what mental health is. So 100 is a small number for psychiatrists and practitioners to reach out to people who are having mental illnesses.
Right.
And maybe you can just repeat again.
Another bit is one out of 4 persons who seek healthcare have a mental health condition. That's another interesting number here for me would be 70% caregivers of people with mental illness who grapple with their own mental health issues.
Yeah.
So inadvertently affecting someone as a caregiver, also affecting this person who has mental illness.
Yes, and just to mention something about caregiving, it's not only for the elderly, and also it's not only parents taking care of their kids, it's also kids taking care of parents who have mental illnesses, and yet they do not know. We have a lot of parents going through a lot, and they're not able to talk about it, maybe fear of stigmatization, because at times children expect their parents to just be okay. And you find that this child, despite the fact that the parent is going through a lot, they do not understand that the parent is going through a lot, and now they have to accommodate a parent who is mentally ill. And that's why we really try to create awareness. And through dance therapy, our dance is more of reaching out to all types of people, not only people who are knowledgeable, not only the literate, but also the illiterate. You might find that someone might not understand what depression is if you tell them, or if you even mention the symptoms of depression, they will not understand. But if they see someone dancing out and expressing what depression is, they are able to familiarize with the emotion, they are able to familiarize with the move, and they are able to understand that they are going through a problem. So using lost state mind of motion, we even create awareness to these caregivers who do not understand that they are taking care of people who have mental illness.
Right.
And from there, these caregivers are able to refer these people to several clinics, because once we are done with the session, and now we have the psychoeducation part where we talk to our group of people that has attended the session, we also refer them to particular places where they can get free mental health services. And after psychoeducating them and they are well familiar with these particular mental illnesses, they are able to get services. So caregiving is a very big problem right now, because their caregivers do not understand that the people they are taking care of have mental illnesses.
Right.
Yeah.
Karimi, let's stick on the numbers for a moment. From where you sit, someone would ask, what's the point of raising awareness if, at the end of the day, you'd only find about 100 psychiatrists or about 500 specialists? So what's the whole point of raising awareness? And fine, we're going to raise awareness, but why are we still having this kind of numbers skyrocketing each and every single year? Next year, when you take a look at them, maybe they're going to be even more. The percentages will have increased. Then what's the whole point of raising awareness then?
Thank you very much, Stanley. I think the whole point of raising awareness is to make sure, because we cannot keep quiet on it either.
Mm-hmm.
We can't sit on a problem and we imagine this problem gonna solve itself.
Yeah.
I'm imagining where I'm seated right now, as it is, even with the current kind of economy. People are very way stressed up. The stresses are rising every single day. We are raising awareness despite the numbers, yes, because number one, we would like maybe the well-wishers, we'd like the government to wake up and do something about it, because at the end of the day, this facilitation will come from people who are able. Stanley, at Lost, we have seen it happen even within ourselves. We are not escaping this, because if right now Elizabeth takes a score sheet of Vincent and my score sheet, we'll end up being in hospital.
Oh.
We are sick. If Elizabeth gives you a score sheet right now, Stanley, we'll take you to hospital.
And it's interesting, actually, the fact that you mentioned, I mean, we are 1 out of 4.
Yes.
We are 4 here.
Yes.
Has a mental health condition.
Yes.
So bombastic side eyes right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah. So now our awareness is being raised despite the fact that so little is being done. But we're doing this so that we can have people supporting us, people coming from all over supporting us, and the government, as I've said, to step up a bit and know that people outside here are suffering.
Right.
You know, that number for the data person to have come up with the numbers, it actually shows that there's a need.
Oh, yes.
And the solution must be looked for at the end of the day.
Right.
It is good to know a problem and solution are found, other than to sit down and be ignorant. There is no problem at all. So for us, Lost is to make sure that awareness is created. Let us know the magnitude of the problem, and let us seek out for solution from the well-wishers, from the government, and whoever person is able to help.
I love the fact that how timely this conversation is ahead of tomorrow. But then speaking even on the whole support. Now, I told you we'll get to Netherlands. Netherlands, Kenya, what is the whole partnership? Tell us about that, and any other kind of partnership, because I know at the end of the day, Lost State of Mind can't really be working in isolation on this.
So, Lost State of Mind is partly we have a partnership in the Netherlands.
Mm-hmm.
And the current project we are doing, which is Mind in Motion, we got like some funding from the Netherlands, which the funders are NFS.
Mm-hmm.
So, sometimes I can say the government sometimes have a lot to deal with sometimes, and you find that also getting some help from outside makes like things also more, things run, let me say that. Yes.
Does the Kenyan government, or has the Kenyan government, 1 year and a few months later, chipped in to what you do?
Currently, I can say, it's not like a bigger percentage, but there is light. There is light towards that, because currently we are in talks with the county government.
Right.
To make sure like we get all the connection that we need in terms of the current project we are doing. So maybe I just explain a little bit of the current project we are doing.
Mm-hmm.
So the current project we are doing as Lost State of Mind is called Mind in Motion. And Mind in Motion, the main aim of Mind in Motion is to go to institutions, because when we are having some discussion with some of the psychologists and psychiatrists who always have like some of the patients from these institutions, one of the data that we had is there is a high need of reaching out to the people in the institutions. So Mind in Motion aims to go into different institutions so that we can spread awareness about mental health. Because the reason why we are using dance is because sometimes it's always like really hard to sit people down and just discuss about mental health.
Yeah.
If you invite people like, okay, let's come and sit down for a workshop or for a conference and discuss about mental health.
Right.
People always shy out of that. But if you bring for them in terms of entertainment, which we do that through our productions, then it's more engaging and it's easy. And from that, because in our production, you find that we've tackled like different mental illness, which is suicide, stress, anxiety, depression. So it's all inside there. So when somebody's watching the performance, sometimes you find that they get to see themselves in the performance.
Right.
They get to see things that they relate with. And then from there is when like it's easy for somebody, it's easy to start conversation with somebody.
Right.
Yeah, because it's, sorry?
Speaking of which, and we had your short break, Vic. Even for the viewer, remember you can always call in live, 0768 095 491. Vic, the viewer is wondering, can they join in this particular performance? Ukiwa kwa sitting room yao pale kwa bedsitter, anaweza songesha viti, can also be part of this particular performance and dance. But then we're taking a short break. When we come back, I'll try to, during the break, nione kama naweza pata baadaye some of these t-shirts and hoodies written, creating a safe space. We'll also be talking about all that. How do you even create a safe space? Stick around for that. 28 minutes past the top of the hour. That is according to my chronometer. The hashtag is always this morning cafe, the best way to start your morning. And this particular morning, we talk about matters mental health, but then in a very kind of unique way, mixing matters mental health conversations and also some contemporary kind of dance. And our question of the day this particular morning is, do you believe that mental health issues are becoming a growing concern in Kenya? Just to sample a few of your feedback, Maura Esbon says, there you have it, a question of the day, do you believe that mental health issues are becoming a growing concern in Kenya? Always chime in on this at TV47KE on Facebook, at TV47 News on X, at TV47KE on Instagram, as well as Lost_State of Mind on Instagram, L_State of Mind on X, and the Lost State of Mind on Facebook. On TV47KE on Facebook, Maura Espon says yes, and they're leading to drugs and alcohol abuse. Seminars should be very frequent. Marichor Solrit says, yeah, definitely. And finally, yeah, due to the high cost of living, due to stress. And even as we continue this conversation, Vic, before the break, you're finishing up on something before we actually take a look at some of these comments.
Okay. Yeah. So maybe you remind me again.
Right. Before, okay. We're talking basically the whole support and Netherlands.
Oh yeah.
And how support in lost state of mind can really work in isolation. And you're actually telling me about county governments and partnering with county governments.
Yes. So since the current project you're doing is Mind in Motion and going to different institutions, so you find that it's easy for us to get contacts for this institution and also get referrals to this institution using the county government. Yeah. So that is the current conversation that we have with the county government. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that we make sure to tap into some of these institutions and get to reach the places we cannot just reach, right, but we can get access through the county government. Uh-huh. Yeah, and also also to add on that, we also have we have a walk that is coming. Yes.
Oh yes.
Yeah,
10 days from now. In UN.
Yeah, in UN. Will be on 19th.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that is where also we are supposed to, we are also in talks with the county government so that they can come in to make sure the work becomes a success.
And now that you mentioned that, this for 10 days from now will be chapter 2. How's chapter 1 by the Karibi? And also for this mental walk. And also, he's talking about this Mind in Motion kind of project. Now, is it in Nairobi only? Are you also based in other different counties? I know it's 1 year and a few months now. What are you planning to in other counties?
Well, there's a plan. We've done a workshop in Kisumu, if I can remember. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've done a workshop in Kisumu. Okay. And we are planning to spread our wings. Mm-hmm. This being a nationwide problem, yeah, there's a plan to spread our wings more, yeah, and reach out to many. So we are not stopping in Nairobi only. And as Vincent mentioned, is that we are affiliating ourselves with institutions, right, existing institutions like universities. Mm-hmm. So the moment we enter into universities, we are able now even not only to do maybe the campuses or the institutions in Nairobi, but we're able also to spread now through their channels to other of the related institutions in other places. Uh-huh. Yes. Right. Yeah.
Now, Elizabeth, let's take a look at a question of the day. And you've definitely had the comments given by the viewers. Do you believe that mental health issues are becoming a growing concern in Kenya? From where you see it as a specialist, why?
Yeah, sure, they are. Mm-hmm. Before I started working with Lost State of Mind, I was working with a government hospital, Ngaira. and I'm still working there once in a while.
Okay.
The cases are really increasing because we usually collect data each and every time a client comes in, and you can see that the number of cases are increasing, especially the age of 15 to 24 years. And the number of people who are coming for therapy sessions are especially female, the female gender. And when we look at
men
cases...
want to talk?
Yeah, few men come for therapy sessions, so that's why we're creating awareness. And when we look at cases of attempted suicide, most of them are the male. So what we'd really say is that the male need to speak out. They need to understand that there's always a safe space. We know that culture, depending on the African culture, we've been taught that men need to stand up for themselves, they need to be strong. But as mental health specialists, we tell men that they need to speak out.
But then how do they, because we always have this conversation, men speak out. So how do they do this? From where you sit, is it that I'd probably have, is it the environment that I should be speaking out? Is it the person that I'm speaking to?
Yeah.
How do I speak out?
Okay, so there's the way the culture has molded you to be, and there's a particular way you need to mold yourself to be. You need to understand how you feel inside. You need to understand what you're going through, and being able to know that there are places where you can seek help. You need to feel free to go to that place and ask for help and get the needed help that you want. And we just want them to know that when you come to a safe space, it doesn't mean that you're weak. In fact, it means that you're strong. And a man should feel free to open up to someone they trust. And even if you feel like crying, I would literally recommend for a man to cry. As a specialist, it's very important because crying is one of the ways of expressing your emotions. And what happens with mental health is each and every mental illness has dominant emotion standing out. For example, when it comes to depression, we have sadness. When it comes to anxiety, we have fear. So when you're sad, you're more likely to cry or just be in a mood of sadness. And when you cry, you're able to release how you feel from the inside. So one, men need to understand that crying doesn't mean, because there's a way you are created. If you were not to cry, then there wouldn't be tears in your eyes. So it's meant for you to cry and open up. It's important for you. Anyway, the way you just feel when you're not okay, how you feel is okay for you to express yourself. We recommend you to do that as long as it's not harming you, as long as it's not harming anyone around you. It's a proper coping mechanism. A man should be able to express how they feel from the inside. Doesn't have to be just talking. We even have dance therapy sessions. You can be trained how to express yourself through dance. You can also journal. Just learn to express yourself and not bottle up emotions.
Right.
Yeah.
You work with the community, really knowing vitu kwa ground ziko nje.
Yeah.
So will you say there's a trend in a particular year? There is a rise, there are months where there's a rise in cases of maybe suicide, maybe cases of depression?
Yeah, sure. Let me start with a younger age, that is students who go to school. A period before students go to school, we get a high number of cases. Children, maybe they do not want to go back to school because they feel like when they go back there, the environment is not that quite good for them. Or maybe fear, anxiety of what is going to happen. So, and also when we look at the month of September being a suicide prevention month, the cases of suicide have really increased. Right. So it's something that's happening, and it being a trend, because last year during the suicide prevention month, we had of 4 cases of suicide. I personally heard of that. This year, I've heard of around 5, and it's true. So the most important thing is, if it's this suicide prevention month, I think we should be more intentional about it so that we reach out to the population and they really get to understand why do we have this prevention month when it comes to cases concerning suicide.
Right.
Yeah.
I can see in the hoodie in pia kwa t-shirts, imeandikwa creating a safe space. Briefly, Vic,
Yes.
what does it mean to create a safe space from where you sit?
Okay, let me, I'll just,
And as you also peer, ama ni planning ndio utaniambia venye ita-
I'll just take it a little bit back when you were talking about men crying and stuff. Uh, I rarely.
apart from timu yako ya football ikipigwa. Apart from that.
I rarely cry. Yes, unless it's like really intense. Yeah. So we were having like a discussion before like we came here about like men and why it's always like really hard for them to open up and talk. And from my own research and reviews, and also since I'm a man, so sometimes, you know, I always tend to put things in terms of the things I've experienced and the things that my close friends and brothers have passed through. I got to understand that, and you'll correct me if I'm wrong, since you're also a man. We always tend to detach from physical touch.
Yeah.
At the age of when we are teenagers.
Yeah.
Yes. So and you know, the only moment, like most of the time, the only moment you always like feel safe with somebody, it's when you're always like in touch with them most of the time. Mm-hmm. Yes. And that if that physical touch is withdrawn, and imagine it was withdrawn before you turn into an adult. And then also when you get into an adult, it's something that has always never, it's withheld from you. And you find that the only time like you get like really genuine touch is when you're with your partner or your spouse. So it gets like really hard as a man, like just to come and open up to anyone, because we only feel safe if we are always like really in touch with each other most of the time. And you find that the society as niseme society imetunyima that. Mm-hmm. Yes, because I was telling Karemi that growing up, since most of the time I grew up, the person who was raising me most of the time was my mom.
Okay.
And my dad was always out working and stuff, of which currently I understand because I'm also a dad now. You find that when like anything will have happened to you, you are always being told to be a man, you know. Yeah, even if you're always going to complain about, oh, somebody has taken your toy, somebody has beaten you and stuff, you're always told like, yeah, you can handle it, go handle it like a man. Because sometimes, you know, you go so that maybe you can seek help from the other person, because maybe you're afraid the other person is stronger than you and they will beat you again. So you
go and handle it.
Yes, go and handle it. So when you go back there, you still like, you know what? So you find that if that escalated, goes on until like we are really adults, mm-hmm. we don't get to talk to people. And it also get it like really worse, because currently getting like somebody you can really talk to, it's like really hard. And also therapy is expensive.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So that is why we are doing a campaign called Safe Space, creating a safe space. Mm-hmm. So, in creating a safe space, start with the people immediate to you. Yeah. So if you create a safe space to somebody who is immediate to you, then it's easy for them to always open up about some other things. And then you also create safe space within yourself.
Right.
Yeah. So if you also create safe space within yourself, you find that ripple effect goes around.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're mentioning about even somebody who's young, even really trying to talk to. And I'm now curious because, Karemi, you had mentioned earlier that, well, the whole production is open for someone 15 years and above. So how do the auditions happen? Is it for someone who is just willing to dance? Does it have to be strictly contemporary kind of dancing? And do they have to be probably facing any mental illness so that, well, they even resonate? How does the auditioning kind of work?
Now, even as we maybe reach out to put an advert of a dance production, mm-hmm. remember we have said that mental health is open, mental wellness is open for everyone. So even as we open our space to invite dancers and to audition them,
Okay.
they are also human beings with needs. They are human beings who are passing through normal journey of life. So as they come, they are coming to heal. As they come, they are coming to seek for help. And as lost, they find a space where they're able to find a solution as they express themselves through the dance.
Right.
So yes, as we audition, we have found that some of the dancers, they come and find a safe space for healing and safe space where they're able to connect with themselves, where they're able to know who they are. Yeah.
Right. Now, before I actually get your last words, let's take a look at this. So now imagine living your family right here in Nairobi or wherever part of Kenya, and packing your bags and going all the way to Saudi Arabia, seeking a hole for green pastures, basically. And then, while facing a tumultuous kind of life there, the kind of mental impact that has. Our very own Zainab, health reporter Zainab Mohammed, spoke to one returnee from Saudi Arabia and found this report. Take a look.
Friday afternoon, Elsie Metha touched down at the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport, reuniting with her family after what she describes as a very traumatic experience at the Gulf. Elsie, like many Kenyans who continue to travel outside the country in search for greener pastures, went to Saudi Arabia in a bid to fend for her children.
Nilienda Saudi Arabia 2022 April the 10. Nilichukuliwa na mdosi anaitwa Alwa na Majet, na tumekaa na wao mzuri, ila tu wakati niliona maroho yanapigana ya Ukristo Katoliki na wa Muhammad, ikabidi mimi nijitoeshe.
However, her dream for a better life quickly got shattered after a conflict between her and her former employer.
Nikaacha kila kitu kwa nyumba yao nikaenda, lakini walipoleta ofisi kuna wenye walifanya ujanja, sababu huko nikana kwamba tunakaa the same kila mtu. Saa wakaenda wakajifanya ndio mimi, wakapewa simu yangu ikapotea na kamzigo kangu kamepotea kakiwa na nguo.
With zero hope for a chance to get back home, Elsie attempted suicide twice. A guardian angel, a Facebook post about her story, resulting in an uproar online that got the attention of the Tharaka Nithi County government.
Vile tulianza kufuatilia hii mambo, tukaweza kuongea na serikali ya Saudi Arabia ndio iweze kumrelease, iweze kumleta, na siku ya leo ni siku ya furaha sana, sababu at least tumeona msichana wetu amerudi, hata kama amekuwa na tushida pale na pale, sababu mali tulikuwa tuliambiwa alikuwa na shida mingi sana, mpaka at one point akaenda kwenye maji na karibu maji imuue pale, akakimbishwa kwenye hospitali. Tukaweza at least kumrescue kutoka kule, tukamleta nyumbani.
Elsie's stories embodies the life of many Kenyans who continue to travel abroad in search for greener pastures. This is despite the government issuing a warning to Kenyans against traveling to destinations in the Middle East with unregulated agencies who disregard the value of human life and rights. Zainab Mohammed, T47.
Health reporter there, Zainab Mohammed, on that particular piece. And that's just a tip of the iceberg on, well, the kind of, and these particular numbers that we're taking a look at. But then we really have to wrap it up. And I'll start with you, Karimi. Your parting shot, what should you be really expecting? Tomorrow is World Mental Health Day. Well, you had mentioned what lost what basically the production will be doing tomorrow. But in future, as your parting shot.
Yep, so I'm here to call out for Kenyans to speak out and to say that there is help. And this help is available everywhere because as Lost, we have affiliated ourselves with bodies that are offering counseling, like we are doing. So we are in the process of acquiring a partnership with Chiromo, okay, where citizens or Kenyans will be treated with a very subsidized amount of money. And also we have got volunteers who are coming out in terms of psychologists, right, to help Kenyans. So for me, I'm advocating for Kenyans, please speak out.
Asante.
There is help.
Asante. Vic, briefly.
Okay, so first thing, let's try as much as possible to create a safe space And also through this, just want to remind guys that on 19th, which is this month, we are going to have the mental health walk, which we've partnered with Africala Arts
Right.
and the University of Nairobi. So if there are anyone who like needs to come in as a partner and partner with us to make sure the event is a success, because it's a mental health walk. So we want to make sure as much as possible to create a safe space.
So do they DM you guys at lost_state of mind at
Yes.
IG?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Do that. Briefly.
Okay, so start by creating a safe space by yourself, and remember that we should stop stigmatization when it comes to mental health, and learn to accommodate each other. Anytime you have a problem, feel free to reach out. Nobody is going to judge you, and in case you face judgment, do not stigmatize yourself.
Right. Right, and asanteni sana, Catherine Karimi, the strategy and planning, and also Vincent Owoko, like Vic, choreographer, and also Kavulani Elizabeth, a counseling psychologist. But definitely also to pia wametusaidia kuima neno ya dancing, Beth Omwangi and Stacey Achieng, and also Dante, asanteni sana. Remember, tomorrow is World Mental Health Day. The theme is mental health is a universal human right. So this particular conversation will definitely and always go on right here. I leave it to Akina, Beth, Stacey, and Dante to, well, show us the whole mind in motion moves.